We saw a craft. It was silent. It was hovering.
No, you can see like an outline of something. What is this shit?
Now it's not showing up in my camera.
We're talking about an incursion of an unknown vehicle over a military base.
Oh my God, they're coming down! Please tell me this is the end of the world.
UFOs are real. Our government has told you that much. They said that there are machines, we can't duplicate their technology, and we don't know where they're from. There's no sticker, there's no tag that says made in China, made in Russia. We don't know. But this idea that we don't have a 360-degree complete understanding of what's within our airspace, now that is a problem. My name's Jeremy Corbell, and I'm an investigative journalist, and I tend to focus on this strange world of UFOs and the puzzle that makes up the whole experience of UFOs. There are things that just keep us up at night, things that we can't put down, like studying UFOs. And on this show, we're going to cover all the things that do that to us, that excite us. That was my thinking.
You and I have talked about a lot of times over the last decade or so, the big questions. Who are they? Where are they from? Why are they here? What's their interest in us? Oh, and the more I learn, the fuzzier those answers get. Some of this activity, it doesn't fit into a category.
And the more that you look into this topic, the more unsure you are of the conclusions that you really started with. I mean, we all start with some idea of what we think it is.
Yeah.
And the UFO mystery, I can't be a passive consumer of this. I have to be an active participant. I've got a podcast called Weaponized Podcast, and George Knapp and I, he's my mentor in journalism, we usually drop these cases through that visual podcast called Weaponized. This is an interesting one. Here's the basics of it, man. One of the largest military bases on planet Earth, it's called 29 Palms out of California. It's a Marine base.
Spanning nearly 1,200 square miles, the Combat Center is the largest Marine Corps base in the world and is the only Marine Corps installation that has adequate land and airspace to conduct service-level training with fully integrated combined arms live fire.
I got a tip that there was an event and I should find people that maybe photographed it or filmed it. That's all the information that I got. Within 36 hours, I was able to find that there were 50 plus witnesses that claim to have seen a triangular shaped craft that was hovering over the base silently. It was not descending. It was just a craft. And when I saw the first images, it was kind of like black footage because you're filming at night on iPhones. And I was like, oh, those are probably flares. No problem. However, everybody was reporting to me that they saw the body of a craft. And so as the footage started coming in, and this is just about 2 years ago, that's when this all came to me. So within 36 hours, I got people recorded, documented, on the record, telling me, hey, we shoot up flares. This wasn't that. We saw a craft. It was silent. It was hovering.
Those are not aluminum rounds because aluminum rounds fall. And nobody shoots in a 5-gun section.
No, you can see like an outline of something.
It's moving.
And then luckily, they did shoot up illumination rounds. And so you can see this big difference between what an illumination round or like a flare looks like and whatever this V-shaped formation of lights looks like. So I thought, okay, let me look a little bit more into that. Well, some of the people had iPhones with low light capability. And so they're saying, look, you can kind of see the outline or the shape of the body of what we saw. So this is what we're looking at now. It's an interesting photo because with the low light function of the iPhone, you're able to make out what appears to be the actual shape of what was described verbally to me by some of these witnesses who went on record, by the way, and we played that audio on the Weaponized podcast.
So I'm a mortarman, and he's artillery.
What are the facts, man? Like what base, which Marine base, and what time was this?
2 nights ago, it was roughly like 8:25-ish at night. It was near 29 Palms, California.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the base at all, but Camp Wilson is attached to 29 Palms. So it's like a one-way road in and out of the camp.
One of my buddies was outside, and he was looking in the sky, and then it just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And we all came out and looked, and then slowly, like 50 plus people started coming out and looking. Those lights appeared out of nowhere.
Obviously, a lot of people saw this. What did people think?
They were just kind of like baffled. Nobody could recognize it. I mean, we're all in the military, so you'd think we'd.
This happened in a number of places. I've got reports from other people. They're coming in. The video you sent me, was that yours?
Yes, that was mine. That was from my iPhone.
And the photo, was that a still photo or pulled from the video?
It was a still photo. If you look in the picture, you can see like a black triangular shape.
Why are these not flares?
Because they stayed there for a solid 10 minutes, just in the same spot.
And flares don't sit in one spot for 10 minutes?
No, they fall.
So you personally know that these were not flares. Do you believe this was a craft?
Yeah, I would have to believe so. With the picture I took with the black triangular shape underneath the lights, it's definitely not any type of like flare or illumination rounds or anything.
I didn't mean to butt in, but I work with artillery, and we shoot illumination rounds out of our arty guns into the air to illume infantry guys. And this was nothing compared to what that is. Like, this was something none of us had ever seen before. It was a completely different color. The size of the illumination was different. And when we shoot illumination rounds, it's one, you shoot it in the air and let it drop, and then you shoot another one. This was like, obviously you've seen the picture, this was like 5 right next to each other, and they're kind of reddish, and our loom rounds are like a yellow-white color.
So this was a craft. Was it hovering, stationary? Was there any sound?
Well, there was absolutely no sound.
No sound, but it was definitely stationary.
How big was it? Estimate to me, how big?
Compared to one of those stealth bombers, the size.
Well, hold on. Stealth bombers can't hover.
Exactly. That's why I can compare it to that, but that's how I know it wasn't that.
I would say the size of like 3-bedroom house. I don't know. Maybe bigger.
So people are arguing, this is, there was training going on. There's always training going on. This is a training base. Here's the point. We don't know. This is an active investigation. Were these just flares, or are these reports of seeing a triangle craft, like the body of it? Is that correct? Couldn't get more information. I kind of tapped out all the sources. I wasn't getting more information. And I'm like, okay, it's time to put this out, and let's see now the power of crowdsourcing. Let's see now. Were more people there? Is there longer footage? The footage I have ranges within 6 minutes from the first piece of footage to the last. When I look at the metadata, it's 6 minutes, but this thing was described as being up there between 10 and 25 minutes without dissent. So I can prove, to a high degree, I can prove 10 minutes, but we're trying to see if it's more.
You said that there were like objects that came out and like circled it right after, and then it went dark? What do you mean?
So right before they went out, the illumination rounds popped off over top of it. Those 2 orange lights, the actual illumination rounds that went up over top of it, and then after that it disappeared, like just straight went black, and then helicopters started like hauling ass towards it, and they went like in the direction of it, and then they started circling the area.
These helicopters were circling for a good bit afterwards, and there was a convoy as well that went out. It was like a 60-plus truck convoy that we saw go out as well.
We were taking pictures afterwards. It was just straight black. It just disappeared.
Here's the deal, man. There's no official way that UFOs are investigated. People are not going through the formal process like they should. There should be tons of data on this. So the idea is just to try to find out as much as we can, try to get as much footage. So now people are coming out. They are coming with more footage, more information. I'm getting calls every second, which is exactly what we wanted, because this process is kind of broken. You know, the US government saying transparency, no problem. You know, we're gonna look into this. Oh my gosh. I mean, if I'm getting good intel, the US government's not getting the best intel. So I'm trying to accumulate as much as I can. Now, this case, if it is as described, that's very interesting. We're talking about an incursion of an unknown vehicle over a military base. If it turns out to be flares, then that's also really important. You know, let's get that information out. But it is representative of what people are really concerned about. We know we have very special weaponry and we have US assets that can do some really cool things. We also know that other foreign nations have technologies that we should be concerned about when it comes to duration of flight, that kind of thing, and just reconnaissance, as we saw with all the balloon stuff that was going over the United States. But there is a third element here. There are machines of unknown origin, unknown operator, and unknown technology and capability that durationally have been over classified airspace, or I'd say restricted airspace, flying with impunity, and in a lot of cases that are documented, even messing with our nuclear or tampering with our nuclear assets, not just in our country, but also in Australia, in Russia. So this is an issue. Look, we know UFOs are real. The government has told us as much. Remember, the 2004 Tic Tac UFO event, or the series of events, where Commander David Fravor chased a UFO, saw it with his eyes with a bunch of other people. It's on radar. It's on all sorts of sensor systems. That was during a training or a workup exercise. So was the 2019 UFO swarms, which, by the way, they're not our assets. Whatever swarmed our 10 warships in 2019 off the west coast of California, I have talked to more individuals directly involved with fighting those ships than any intelligence agency we have in the United States or beyond. For sure, that those were not U.S. assets. And if they were other foreign nations, or you'd call them adversarial nations assets, man, that's an even bigger problem. But the issue is, we've ruled that out too, from what I understand. But that was during a training or a workup exercise as well. So here we are. There's this huge military base. It's known for training people. That's what it's there for. There's always trainings going on. So the question is, are these objects that we don't know where they're from, are they observing this? What's going on?
I told you all this research wasn't for nothing. I knew aliens were real.
There's more lights around it.
So this is one of those unique moments where I'm asking for help. I'm asking for anybody else that was at 29 Palms Military Base, Camp Wilson, or anywhere within the almost 1,000 square miles of this base. Were you there that night? You know, do you have footage? And so that's kind of what I'm hoping to get. And in fact, that information is coming in. So look, UFOs are real. Our government has told you that much. They said that there are machines, we can't duplicate their technology, and we don't know where they're from. There's no sticker, there's no tag that says made in China, made in Russia. We don't know. But this idea that we don't have a 360-degree complete understanding of what's within our airspace, now that is a problem.
31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
What was splashed? Mark bearing and range.
So you see Congress, Senate is holding hearings. We're trying to get as much information as possible as journalists, George Knapp and I, as journalists. But we have to heal or mend that divide. We need to get to a point where that information flow is going where it should, and then I'll be obsolete. You know, my job is being the go-to guy, like who are you going to call if you see a UFO? right? Hopefully at some point, I won't have that job and it will be reported properly. So that's what's going on today is we're really looking to get as much information as we can, put it out to the public. Lots of slings and arrows coming my way for doing this. But I think ultimately it raises awareness and information of like, how does this work? How do you investigate UFOs? You can only go, and look, UFO just means unidentified flying object, or UAP, which is, you could say unidentified aerial or anomalous phenomena. You don't know till you know. So the only way to go about this is to get information out and ask for data.
What do you think you saw?
I couldn't tell you. I just know it's not anything that I recognized or any of my close friends could recognize either. So I don't think it was anything U.S. military. Definitely some type of UFO, and the government was trying to look for it after it disappeared. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell that was.
This is a highly documented event. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah. Like through exercises, we've worked with a lot of people who use different type of weapons. So I've never seen anything like it.